Some rappers act hard in the music and run away from any real smoke. But today, we're breaking down the most savage dudes in the game who are always ready for ops. Lil Baby might run from the cops when a SWAT team rolls up to his crib, but he's always ready for ops. Lil Baby's one of the biggest rappers in the game, and he knows it puts a huge target on his back for anyone trying to hit a lick on him for his ice or cash. He came up in the streets and knows how to watch out for ops, but when you're one of the most famous rappers in your city, you need more protection than that. It seems like Baby don't go anywhere without a strap on him, even when he's just taking pics with fans. There's also a wild video that leaked where Baby allegedly got into a shootout at a gas station and started spraying at the ops. In the clip, someone took a shot at him, and that's when the dude people say is Lil Baby whipped around and started busting back. There's no evidence he was really involved with the shootout, but if someone ever tries Baby for real, then it'll probably look just like this. He don't even play around when he's linking up with legends. Back in 2020, Lil Baby was in Houston chilling with Bun B, and in the photo they took together, you can clearly see Baby clutching the pistol in his hoodie pocket. Lil Baby ain't the only superstar ready for ops though, and this next rapper has been seen with enough weapons to start his own war. NBA YoungBoy came up in the wild streets of Baton Rouge and started writing lyrics while he was in juvie for a robbery charge. When YoungBoy was coming up in the game, he was mentored by a dude named G Money. G Money and YoungBoy was real close back in the day, and they both repped a crew called Top Boy Gorillas. But then YoungBoy fell back from them and started his own group, NBA. YoungBoy and G Money started sending shots back and forth. And come to find out, G Money actually slept with YoungBoy's sister, and that's one of the reasons they fell out in the first place.
He mad about his sister too though.
About his sister?
Yeah, I had fucked her a long time ago.
G Money dropped a YoungBoy diss track called Industry and rapped, "You a bitch, I know the real you. You Sharonda's son, I can't kill you. Never let a nigga steal you. Switched up, I can't feel you." Then 2 weeks later, G Money was shot and killed outside the studio. YoungBoy's homie Lil Pap got booked for the murder. But back in January, Pap got off easy by pleading guilty to accessory after the fact and only got hit with 5 years in prison. According to the police, they think Pap was sliding with some other dudes when they caught G Money, but they couldn't prove Pap was the one who pulled the trigger. G Money's death sparked a war between YoungBoy and his old homies in TBG, but YoungBoy proved he was always ready for the ops no matter what. A TBG affiliate named Lit Yoshi allegedly killed YoungBoy's manager, Dunk. Then in 2020, he allegedly tried to kill YoungBoy in Miami, but YoungBoy busted right back at him. YoungBoy knows he got ops everywhere, so he don't leave the crib without a blower. And even when he's just chilling with his son, he's ready for the smoke. He ain't just riding around with little pistols either. YoungBoy went live on IG in front of 70K fans holding what looks like a machine gun. And in another video, he was cruising the streets with a Draco on his lap. YoungBoy's obviously ready for the ops at all times, but even dudes like him slip up sometimes. One time he hopped out of the whip and was posted up on the corner when he realized his gun wasn't on him. YoungBoy got straight back in the car and told the homies, "Bitch, I just hop out the car. I realized I ain't got no blick on me." Being strapped up at all times has kept YoungBoy safe, but it's also got him into all kinds of legal trouble. Back in 2016, he was booked for attempted murder after he allegedly hopped out of his whip and let off shots. Then in 2020, he was booked on another gun charge after the cops raided his music video shoot. YoungBoy been locked up on house arrest in Utah for a while now and hasn't had any run-ins with the ops in person, but he's still taking all kinds of shots in his music. YoungBoy is one of the most savage dudes in the game, but this next rapper allegedly caught at least 3 bodies before he was murdered. King Von came up in O Block, which the Chicago Times called the most dangerous block in Chicago. His dad was in and out of jail all the time, then ended up getting murdered when Von was just 11 years old. Von followed his dad's footsteps into the trenches, and he got locked up for the first time at just 16 for armed robbery. Robbery is one thing, but Von was allegedly one of the most active shooters in the city and ended up getting booked for killing an innocent dude in the middle of a shootout with the ops. Von went to a house party and saw 2 dudes he had issues with outside. He dipped out and went back to the block to pick up his homie Big Mike. Then the 2 of them slipped back to the spot looking for the dudes. The ops let off shots as soon as they saw him, and that's when Von and Big Mike chased the dudes down and started shooting back. They hit up both ops, but they wasn't the only ones who got caught up in the situation. A college student named Malcolm Stuckey had shown up to celebrate his homie's birthday, but he was at the wrong place at the wrong time and ended up getting shot and tragically died over someone else's beat. The police brought in Big Mike first for questioning, and he immediately threw Von under the bus. He told him everything about what happened that night, and Von got booked for first-degree murder and was facing life in prison. If Big Mike went through with his plan to testify, there's a good chance Von would have gone down for the murder. But right before the trial, Mike changed his mind and got hit with a 28-year sentence while Von walked away free. Von stayed strapped up at all times and even took a gun with him to prom. He ended up getting arrested that night in his prom tux, but that wasn't the only time he brought a gun to school. G Herbo said that Von had been bringing poles to school ever since they was like 13. He was allegedly putting all kinds of pressure on the Opps, and there was a lot of people in Chicago who wanted to take him out. A wild video came out showing Von allegedly getting into a shootout at a gas station. And a year before he died, Von and his homie Lil Durk got wrapped up in a crazy case over another shooting that went down in Atlanta. In 2019, Durk and Von both got booked for allegedly robbing and shooting a dude named Alexander Weatherspoon outside of a club. The cops claimed that they knew Weatherspoon had $30K in cash and wanted to rob him, and the situation escalated until shots went off and Weatherspoon got hit in the leg. According to sources, Durk was misidentified and ended up getting his charges dropped, but Von would still be facing the case if he didn't get killed in 2020. The cops also linked Von to the murder of a GD from STL EBT named Odell, who was killed in 2012. And a month before he allegedly killed Malcolm Stuckey, the cops think King Von killed an infamous shooter from the GDs named K.I. K.I. was allegedly involved with some of the most famous hits in Chicago, but a shooter caught her on the street after she dropped her location on Twitter, and the police think Von is the one who took her out. He was brought in for questioning and never booked, but documents leaked that prove investigators were trying to link the murders of K.I. and Modell together and hit Von with both cases. The police thought if they charged him with the K.I. hit, witnesses in the Modell case wouldn't be as scared to come forward and help him out. King Von was always strapped in the streets, he was even ready for the Opps behind bars. A bunch of jail videos recently leaked showing Von throwing hands with the Opps and getting into all kinds of trouble behind bars. Being a real demon got Von a lot of clout in the trenches, but it's also what led to him getting killed in Atlanta. He walked up to NBA YoungBoy's homie Quando Rondo and started swinging on sight, but Quando's homie Lil Tim had the burner and killed Von on spot. The Migos are one of the most successful rap crews of all time. They came up in Atlanta and changed the entire sound of trap music, but even becoming superstars couldn't keep them out of some crazy street drama. After the Migos popped off with the track Versace in 2013, they was already becoming the hottest new artists in the game, but the group almost got taken out before they had the chance to change the game. In March 2014, the Migos was all together going down the highway in Miami when someone pulled up next to them and started letting off shots. Someone in the Migos van started shooting back and turned the situation into something out of a movie. Their manager said there was at least 40 rounds being blasted on those niggas. When Vice interviewed the Migos back in the day, it was clear from the jump they was ready for the Opps. They had a shooter posted up at the door outside the mansion, and in the crib, they had enough guns to start a war. Quavo even showed off a Gears of War gun that had a chainsaw attached to it in case the Opps wanted to get up close and personal. And on the night Takeoff was tragically killed in Houston, Quavo was seen riding around with the burner in the seat right next to him. They was always ready to throw hands too. Back in 2014, they sparked a beef with Chief Keef because he thought they was dissing him on the track Broken Knees. Offset raps, "Not often, it's every day, payday. My diamonds looking KK, white." And some people thought Offset was sneak dissing Keef's daughter, KK. Keef allegedly clapped back with the track Pull Up and took shots at the whole crew. He said he had already been through enough wars and had enough bullets for all of them. And that's when the Migos came out with the track called Jealousy and banned Keef from coming to Atlanta. Then the Migos went to Chicago just to prove they wasn't worried about Keef or his threats. A few months later, their crews ran into each other in Washington, D.C., and Quavo allegedly had his chain snatched by a GBE affiliate. The Migos were always ready for Opps, but when it comes to throwing hands, they aren't too scary. Back in 2017, a video came out showing Quavo and Offset trying to jump a dude on the street who was twice their size, and he just shrugged them off like they was kids. But the Migos ain't the only dudes who got into it with Keef, and this next dude actually paid a shooter to take him out. 6ix9ine might be known as the biggest rat in the game, but that don't mean he ain't ready for smoke if someone tries him. A lot of the time he's rolling around with a bunch of security who can handle the situation for him, but when he's by himself, 6ix9ine is almost always strapped up. In 2018, he sparked some drama with Chief Keef after beefing with his homie Tato. Then Keef, Tato, and Trippie Redd dropped a diss track aimed at 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine even pulled up to O-Block to prove he wasn't worried about them. But later it was exposed that he went out at like 3 in the morning when nobody was even around. They kept sending shots back and forth on social media for a while.
Fuck Chief Keef, fuck Lil Reese, Fuck all them niggas. Fuck y'all niggas talking about, nigga. This fucking Treyway, nigga.
But then, the beef took a deadly turn. When Keith flew out to New York, a shooter pulled up on him outside his hotel and let off a shot. Luckily, Keith ain't get hit, but 6ix9ine later admitted that he paid his homie Kuda B $20K to take Keith out. Sosa wasn't the only dude who had a bag on his head from 6ix9ine though. A few days before the shooting in New York, 6ix9ine got into an argument over the phone with one of Keith's cousins. And at the end of the call, 6ix9ine told all the goons around him that he had 30K on Keith's head.
I got 30 pack of them right now, bro. 30 pack. Swear to God, I got 30 pack, bro. What's up, family? What's up, family?
6ix9ine has ops damn near everywhere at this point, and that's why he's always clutching when he's out in public by himself. He never knows if someone gonna want to take a picture with him or throw a punch for clout, so it seems like he's got a gun with him at all times. It's tough bringing a Glock into a sauna though, and that's how 6ix9ine got his ass beat earlier this year. He was in the gym when 3 dudes jumped him in the locker room and stomped him out. But 6ix9ine ain't the only rapper who catches a lot of hate though. And this next dude pulled the burner out of the gas station when a random Tupac fan pressed him. Lil Xan blew up in 2017 off his track Betray. He racked up over 500 million streams on Spotify and became a star overnight. But a lot of rap fans hated him from the jump. He became the face of the SoundCloud era, and a lot of old school rap fans and artists wasn't rocking with the movement at all. Xan made the situation way worse for himself when he was interviewed by Revolt and rated Tupac 2 out of 10, and the rap game went crazy over it. Waka Flocka said Xan was banned from hip-hop and that it hurt him to see the new generation disrespecting the dudes who paved the way for him. Xan clapped back and said he wasn't going anywhere and that everyone was gonna have to keep looking at his ugly face. A few months later though, the interview got him into some real drama when a dude named Anthony Sanchez pressed him at a gas station. Sanchez called Xan a bitch and told him to do something, and that's when Xan pulled out his pistol. Sanchez filmed the whole thing and started yelling about the gun while Xan had it pointed at him. Xan hopped in his whip and Sanchez told him to pull it out again. So Xan turned around and pointed it at his face again. Luckily, the situation didn't end with gunshots, but Sanchez still sued Xan for severe emotional distress. Lil Xan ended up falling off completely and pretty much retired for a few years. But then he had an interview with All Hip Hop TV and talks about the Tupac situation. Lil Xan said that the original interview never should have came out because he wasn't in a good place mentally when they did it. He just wanted it all to be over and started messing around. And then it turned into a way bigger situation than he expected.
That interview should have never even been aired, you know, because I wasn't in a good place during the interview. I was angry at that time. And all that came down to was a result of me just trying to get the interview done quicker. Like, I was like, next question, next question. And then they just giving me questions and I'm messing around.
Boonk Gang blew up on social media for his wild prank videos. He would steal food and merchandise from stores and then run out screaming,
Whole gang, whole lot of gang shit, you know what I'm saying?
He was trying to make it in the rap game at the same time. But most people just tuned in for the crazy situations he was getting into. Like when he showed up for a no jumper interview so high that he couldn't even stand by himself. While most of the time he was just trying to be funny and get attention, Boonk Gang was known for having guns on him too. He told DJ Vlad that he always had guns on him when he was doing pranks. And one time, he almost shot some dudes who started throwing chairs and ice at him after he took their food.
Fat boy inside the store and they arguing and shit. I walk outside, I hop in the car. I had 2 guns in my back, in my book bag in the car. We rode an Uber, pulled them bitches out. And I'm finna walk in the store and Fat boy walk out. He like, whoa, no, you good. I'm like, you sure, bro? I'm right here.
One of the wildest things Boonk ever did was go on Hollywood Unlocked and pull a strap out in the middle of his interview. One of the hosts asked him if the safety was on, and Boonk just said,
"Hey, is the safety on that thing, man?"
Hold on, I ain't shit. I wouldn't pull the gun out, and I don't feel comfortable having a gun in the studio.
I'm not gonna shoot you, bro.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Out of nowhere, it seemed like Boonk was turning it all around though. He stopped doing prank videos and started working as a bricklayer for his uncle. But just a few months later, some new drama popped up about him on social media. Boonk had claimed to be from an abusive home where he had to dumpster dive just to feed himself. But his mom is calling cap on all of it and says the whole story's a lie.
Boonk Gang said that he grew up in the ghetto. He had nothing. He had to eat out of trash. He was running the streets. He was just so poor. Does it look familiar? This is the house he grew up in. This is the house he grew up in. This is the streets.
Plus, his ex-girlfriend Wo Vicky accused him of emotionally abusing her and even choking her out at one point.
But he literally puts me through so much mental abuse. Ignores me, treats me like cusses me out, calls me a bitch, choke me up.
Boom Gang has a lot of drama going on right now, but this next dude is lucky to even be alive after the Opps caught him lacking. Lil TJ came up in the Bronx and has been in the streets his whole life. He was arrested for the first time at 15 on a robbery charge and started writing raps in juvie. TJ blew up fast, but the success in the industry ain't keep him away from trouble in the streets. A few years ago, TJ filmed his crew surrounding a security guard and threatening him. The guard ended up throwing a sign into TJ's Range Rover, and that's when the situation got serious. TJ and his goons started telling the guard they had poles too, and TJ ended the live stream before anything serious went down on video. Then when he was touring in the UK, some kind of fight broke out in the middle of the street between TJ and some dudes who was at the show. Rumors was flying that TJ's chain got snatched during the brawl, but later he hopped on IG to show nothing got took. And when a cop car went by his whip, TJ told his fans there will be way more of those if someone really tried to take his chain. Getting active in the streets means you always have a target on your back, and it only gets bigger if you become famous in the rap game too. Last year, TJ was sitting in the whip with two homies when a couple dudes rolled up and tried to rob him. The situation went left fast, and both sides started letting off shots. One of the robbers got hit, but TJ caught 7 bullets and went into a coma for 5 days. Rumors was going around that TJ had been paralyzed or even went brain dead, but luckily he bounced back and made a full recovery. Getting shot and almost dying ain't something you just get over though. And TJ told Hot 97,
every time I take a step like this, I look and I scan and I think somebody about to try to hop out a car and blast me. Like all day, every day.
Obviously, he wants to protect himself and stay ready for Opps, but moving around with a strap has been getting TJ into trouble with the cops lately. He was arrested on his way to shoot a music video with Ice Spice in NYC after the cops found a pistol in his whip. Then a few months later, he was hit with another weapons case after the cops booked him at a different video shoot. Getting booked for guns ain't great, but at least TJ didn't end up getting his body dumped in the woods like this next artist. GMEBE Bands was a white Chicago rapper who allegedly had ties to the Black P Stones. He was buzzing in the city with tracks like First Thing and Demons, but he really went viral for the first time when he pulled a strap out in the middle of his interview with DJ Vlad. Around the same time Bands was getting some buzz on his name, another white rapper named Slim Jesus was making headlines all over the rap game. He went viral because he was a skinny white dude rapping about the streets and holding a bunch of guns in his music videos. But then he revealed he wasn't actually about that life at all and just raps about it to sound cool. Some people compare Bands to Slim Jesus because he was a white street rapper, but Bands ain't want nobody playing with his name like that. Vlad posted a pic of Bands with the caption, "The next Slim Jesus," because he knew it would grab people's attention. But Bands said,
"Boy, I ain't no next nothing, I've been out before him."
Bands said the reason he ain't blew up like Slim Jesus is because his music was real and authentic. And to prove his point, he pulled a gun out of his pocket in front of the camera to let everyone know he was really with it. After the Vlad interview, Bands got a lot more clout in the industry and was running up big numbers. But in 2019, he was found brutally murdered in Rockford, Illinois. According to the police, Bands went inside a house and 3 dudes was waiting for him with baseball bats. A dude named Colton Kenneker smashed him in the head when Bands walked through the door, and that's when the 2 others jumped in and helped beat him to death. Then they drove his body into the woods and set it on fire. Kenneker got hit with a 32-year sentence, his homie Dakota Graff went down for 35, and a dude named William Arze got life plus 5 years for the murder. Arze's been on the run ever since he posted bail in 2019 though, and the cops have no idea where he's at now. Swifty Blue is an LA rapper who popped off with tracks like P-Funk, Grimy Park, and Rosary. He's tapped in with superstars like Kodak Black too, but Swifty came up in the trenches and is still ready for Opps. One time a fan saw Swifty on the street and asked for a picture. Swifty was all about it, but when the fan noticed the gun tucked in Swifty's waistband, they sped off in their whip. Apparently Swifty stays strapped up everywhere he goes, and one time a YouTuber almost got killed trying to prank him. The YouTuber walked up to Swifty in a parking lot and asked for directions to the nearest subway. Swifty told him he ain't know, and that's when the YouTuber asked him if he wanted to get dropped. Swifty ain't the type of dude to play around like that, and he flashed his gun at the dude, and the YouTuber freaked out and told him it was just for a video. The YouTuber was just fronting like a tough dude for the prank, but this next artist proved he was ready for a real shootout at any time. If you gonna be around a certified savage like Lil Durk, you gotta be ready for Opps at any time. He might be one of the biggest rappers in the game, but he came up in the trenches of Chicago and still has Opps in the streets. And last year, his artist OTF Lil Mexico showed everyone that he's never gonna get caught lacking after 2 dudes tried to break into his crib and almost died over it. Lil Mexico was chilling at his house when he heard some dudes trying to break into the front door. Someone with a mask and a gun was outside, but Mexico ain't hesitate to grab his AK and run straight at him. The robber heard Mexico coming, so he hopped off the porch and tried to get away on foot. Mexico was right behind him though, and they all got into a wild shootout right there. Mexico was busting shots, and one of the robbers hit the ground. Then he ran off the porch and started shooting at a second dude. The robbers realized they wasn't gonna hit an easy lick on little Mexico and ran away while he was still blasting at him. After it all went down, Mexico ain't speak on the situation, but he did tweet, "I don't trust a soul, but I know one thing for sure, I ain't going." Dougie B's a drill rapper from the Bronx who came up with his homie K-Flock. Flock is fighting a RICO and murder case right now for allegedly sliding on the Opps and even killing a dude in broad daylight. And Dougie stays ready for the Opps at all times too. A video came out of a dude trying to clown Dougie B while he was walking into a shop. Dougie wasn't playing around though and reached into his pocket like he was about to up his strap and start shooting. Some of the Opps clowned him like he was pump faking. But when Dougie and K-Flock spotted Ron Suno at Rolling Loud, they proved they was ready for smoke. Suno was one of the first Bronx drill rappers to pop off, and he kicked down the doors for dudes like Flock and Dougie B to break into the industry. Instead of linking up and putting on for the city together though, they sparked a beef on social media that led to a crazy fight when they ran into each other. Both sides claimed they won, but luckily nobody got seriously hurt. Eventually the situation cooled down, and Suno even shouted Dougie B out, but Dougie still had a lot of Opps who wanted him gone. He survived getting shot in the leg a couple years ago, and last year, someone took another shot at him right outside the Bronx courthouse. The day before it went down, Dougie scored the biggest win of his career by linking up with Cardi B for a music video. Then he almost lost it all when the Opps caught him on the way to court. You'd think a courthouse would be one of the safest spots in the city, but that's not how it is in the Bronx. The Bronx is a small place, and rival crews are usually only a few blocks away from each other. And no matter what set you rep, you have to go to the same courthouse. A lot of dudes will post on social media when they have a court day, which lets all their Opps know exactly where they'll be. Sometimes it's not even Opps who press rappers though. Like this next wild situation where Sauce Walker had to fight for his life with a random goon on the street. Last year, Sauce Walker went viral after he posted a video of himself covered in blood saying that he's not going out like that, but someone else lost their life that night.
Everybody don't go and everybody ain't going, and I'm one of them people that's not going. So unfortunately tonight somebody lost their life for doing something stupid.
Rumors started flying that Walker had killed someone who tried to rob him, but that's not how it went down. Walker was at a BET event where they couldn't smoke weed inside. He stepped out with a couple homies to smoke, and that's when a random dude walked up on him and upped a strap in his face. Walker threw his homie out of the way and started fighting the dude. And at one point, the gun was right on Walker's neck. The dude eventually realized that he wasn't gonna hit an easy lick on Walker, so he ran off and ended up robbing another dude instead. That guy also put up a fight to keep his ice, but tragically, he wasn't as lucky as Walker and ended up getting shot and killed. Walker is one dude in the rap game you definitely don't want to try and press. Back in 2009, he pleaded guilty to deadly conduct after he shot a dude at a concert, and he's known for being strapped up almost everywhere he goes. He got his own label called the Sauce Factory, but the cops say it's a gang known for criminal activity and not just a rap group. The cops might think Walker and his crew are in the streets, but there's real proof this next guy actually killed at least one dude. The Baby is one of the wildest rappers in the game. He's always getting into drama and controversy, but one thing everyone knows is that he's ready for Opps anywhere, anytime. Right after he started rapping, the Baby's crib was broken into by 6 dudes who was all strapped up. He told DJ Vlad that he heard him kick in the door and start yelling, so he jumped out of bed and grabbed his pistol. He turned the corner where he heard the dudes in the hallway, and that's when he realized how many of them there were. One of the robbers was right in front of him though, and the Baby ain't even give him a chance to react before he upped the strap and shot the dude. The Baby ran the other direction while they was busting back, but luckily none of the bullets hit him. He made it outside and watched them hop in their whip and speed off. But that's not the only time he had to shoot someone who tried to press him. In 2018, the Baby was shopping with his daughter at a Walmart in North Carolina when a dude allegedly flashed a gun and tried to rob him. The Baby was the wrong rapper to pick though, and he ended up killing the dude in the middle of the Walmart. He claimed self-defense and walked away free. But what's crazy is that people are still trying to check him and getting shot. In April 2022, someone broke into his property and the Baby came out shooting. Luckily, that dude survived, and hopefully he's the last person to try the Baby. Shooting an op in a Walmart is crazy, but this next rapper almost popped a dude at a pool party. 21 Savage is one of the biggest rappers in the game now, but he has the name Savage for a reason. He came up in the streets of Atlanta and was surrounded by violence every day. In the 7th grade, he got kicked out of school for bringing a gun, and after that, it just got crazier. Savage lost his brother Lil Tay to the streets. Then he almost died in a shooting that got one of his homies killed. 21 wasn't going out easy though. He took 6 shots and still grabbed the dude's gun and shot him right back.
Niggas just went to busting.
I grabbed his gun and started shooting him with his gun. I turned into a savage, man. I got on that bullshit. I was goddamn trying to kill everybody, man.
Luckily, he made it out of the trenches before getting locked up or dying. But even after he popped off in the rap game, 21 proved he was still ready for smoke. Back in 2018, Savage and a bunch of his homies was at a pool party in Atlanta when a fight broke out. While it was going down, one of 21's homies passed him a burner in case the other side started shooting. But luckily, the situation didn't escalate and they were just throwing hands. 21 ain't had to pop off that day, but it's clear he's still not the one to play with, no matter how famous he gets. Lil Durk might be working with superstars like Drake and J. Cole these days, but he really came up in the trenches of Chicago repping the BDs. He's affiliated with some of the most savage shooters in the city, and he's been active in the streets for years. He caught his first gun charge back in 2011 and spent a few months in jail. Then in 2013, the cops caught him trying to toss a gun into his whip and hit him with another case. By 2015, Durk was already making a name for himself in the rap game, but he still had a lot of ops who wanted him gone. He was supposed to do a show in Philadelphia back in September 2015, but a couple hours before his set, someone started letting off shots and hit up his tour bus. Durk made it out and didn't catch any bullets, but unfortunately, another dude got hit in the stomach and ended up dying. Even if Durk ain't strapped up, he's got dudes around him who are. In 2014, the cops rolled up to the crib Durk was renting to book one of his homies on a murder charge, and when they walked inside, there was two .45 pistols just laying out on the kitchen counter. Durk got hit with a felony gun case and could have gone down for years over the situation, but in 2016, a judge cleared him and the charges were dropped. Skating on the weapon case was lucky, but just a couple years later, he got wrapped up in a way more serious situation. In June 2019, Lil Durk and King Von both got arrested for attempted murder after they allegedly shot and robbed a dude in Atlanta. The cops said that Durk and Von knew the dude had $30K in cash on him, so they caught him outside and ended up shooting him. Durk eventually beat that case as well because the charges was dropped, but a couple years later, he proved he was still ready for action after some goons broke into his house while he was home. In July 2021, Durk and his girlfriend India was at their crib in Georgia when a bunch of dudes broke in at 5 in the morning. Durk and India allegedly both started busting shots while the robbers shot back, but luckily, both of them made it out of the situation without getting hit. YF and Lucci came up in Atlanta and hopped up the porch at a young age. The ops been trying to take him out since he was a kid, and while he was in high school, they came through and shot up his house. Lucci was out of town when it happened, but a week later, they slid into his hood again and did the same thing. This time, his mom and her friend both got shot, but luckily they pulled through and recovered. When Lucci was starting to pop off in the rap game, a video came out showing him holding a gun on stage after someone in Chicago allegedly tried to snatch his chain in the middle of a show. Lucci proved he wasn't gonna get caught lacking even if he was on stage, but it turns out that the original story everyone ran with was cap. The video was actually from a show in Arkansas a few months earlier, and Lucci said it was all love when he showed up in Chicago. He didn't have to actually use the strap at the show, but one time while he was filming the music video, Lucci almost shot someone on accident. A few years ago, Lucci was shooting the music video and someone in the crew handed him a rifle to hold while he was rapping. The video director asked him if he wanted a real one or a fake one, and Lucci said it ain't matter because he wasn't actually about to shoot anyone. So when they passed him the strap, Lucci was messing around thinking it was a prop gun, but then a shot went off out of nowhere. Luckily, he had it pointed at the ground and nobody got hit. But now, Lucci's wrapped up in a real deadly situation. In 2020, he allegedly slid into op territory with some other YFN affiliates and started shooting at the ops. The other side shot back, and one of Lucci's homies got hit in the head. They allegedly pushed the dude out of the whip and drove off, leaving him dying in the street. But that's not the only case he's fighting right now. In 2021, YFN got hit with a massive RICO indictment, and Lucci's been locked up ever since. A few months ago, the DA offered him a plea deal to take a 20-year sentence and serve 17 in prison, but Lucci turned it down and decided to take it to trial. Famous Dex is a rapper from Chicago who blew up off of hits like Pick It Up in Japan. He's not known for being a street dude, but after causing a riot at a college show, he proved he was ready for smoke when he pulled a pistol on a bunch of angry college students. Back in 2018, Dex was at UC Irvine for Shocktoberfest. In the middle of the show, Dexter started crowd surfing, and that's when the audience got out of control. People started hopping barricades and knocking down fences, so the campus called in security and shut the whole thing down. Dex wasn't even the headliner though. He was opening up for YG, and most of the crowd was there to see him. So when the concert got shut down, thousands of students who showed up to see YG got pressed and surrounded Dex's whip while he was trying to leave. That's what Dex showed them he wasn't playing around. He opened up the car door and upped his strap, but luckily he didn't let off any shots and nobody got hurt. Dex was ready to handle the situation that day, But a few years later, some dudes caught him lacking and robbed him at gunpoint in LA. Dex borrowed a $50K watch from one of his homies to use for a music video, and after he picked up the piece, some dudes started following him. While he was stopped at a red light, they hopped out and put guns in his face. So Dex had to hand the watch over and all the cash he had on him too. He didn't want to get caught lacking again, so he put a gun in his whip. But just a week later, the cops put him over for not having a license plate and found it under his seat. Black Youngster's a rapper from Memphis who was in the streets and only decided to try rapping after he spent a year in prison on gun charges. It didn't take long for him to build a buzz in the city, and Yo Gotti ended up signing him to a CMG label. Gotti already had major beef with Young Dolph, and Black Youngster started putting pressure on him too. Youngster filmed himself and a bunch of goons trying to find Dolph in Memphis, and he allegedly tried to take Dolph out when he was on tour in North Carolina. Somebody shot up Dolph's SUV and dumped over 100 rounds into it. Black Youngster was booked over the shooting, but eventually the cops had to let him go because they didn't have enough evidence against him. Youngster is always rolling deep, and when he had some issues at a show in South Carolina, one of his homies passed him a Draco to handle business. Being ready for Opps is mandatory if you come from the streets, but unfortunately, Youngster's little brother recently lost his life in the trenches. He was standing outside a gas station in Memphis when someone drove through letting off shots, and now Youngster's sending threats to everyone in the city. He hopped on IG and said, "I swear to God, nobody's safe, and I'm ready for whatever come with this shit. It's okay, don't feel sorry for me. I'm not gonna feel sorry for nobody, only God knows." Youngster already lost one brother to gun violence in 2016. Then his older brother was killed in a shootout in 2019. It's a tragic situation all around. And if Youngster ever catches who was behind it, he'll probably be back in the headlines again. Lil Wayne might be one of the biggest rappers of all time, but he still stays ready for Opps and has been booked on gun charges a few times. Back in 2007, cops found him smoking weed by his tour bus with a pistol next to him. He pleaded guilty to criminal possession of a weapon and ended up spending 8 months on Rikers Island. But that wasn't the last time he got caught with the strap. In 2019, the police searched his private jet and found another gun. Transporting weapons across state lines as a convicted felon can get you some serious time in prison. But Wayne got off easy after Donald Trump pardoned him a year later on his last day in office. Wayne wasn't ready to put the guns down yet though, and a few months after getting the pardon, he allegedly upped the strap at his own bodyguard. According to reports, Wayne got into a fight with the dude for allegedly taking photos and leaking them to the press. The bodyguard went to the bathroom, and when he came out, Wayne allegedly pulls an AR-15 on him. It's not clear what really went down, but the bodyguard decided not to press charges, and Wayne was never booked over the situation. Soulja Boy ain't the kind of rapper you think will be ready for Opps, but when some dudes broke into his house, he allegedly handled business and started letting off shots. Back in 2008, Soulja left an album release party and went back to his crib to record with his homie A-Rap. Soulja told DJ Vlad,
"I'm in the studio listening to some beats. All I hear is boom, real loud. Instantly stop the music. A-Rap passed me the pistol. I hop out, I start shooting. Bow, 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 bow."
Allegedly, he hit one of them and he fell on the ground while his homies ran outside. Then Soulja pulled off his mask to see who it was and shot him again. Soulja is known for being one of the biggest liars in the game and has been caught plenty of times, but it seems like at least part of this story is true. When DJ Vlad interviewed A-Rap, he confirmed that he handed Soulja the pistol that night, but didn't actually see what went down after that. But according to a dude named Droop, that's not how it went down. Droop is with a crew called Showstoppers who used to be affiliated with Soulja. According to him, they sent Soulja a track and Soulja took one of their artists' verses off the song before he released it. Droop went to Soulja's crib to press him over the situation and ended up slapping him in the face.
Okay, so you slapped him open hand, and then he pulled out his gun?
That's exactly what he did. It went just like that. I said, "What you gonna do with that?" So I slapped him again. That's when he let off. That's when I got hit right here, in the front of my thigh.
Gucci Mane is a legend in trap music, but he was really in the trap house before he got into rapping. Coming up in the wild streets of Atlanta, Gucci started selling weed in middle school and bought the first crack he flipped with Christmas money. By the time he was 15, Gucci was moving weight full time. But one crazy situation made sure he would never get caught lacking again. He was riding his bike down the street when a dude stopped him and pointed a Desert Eagle at his head and robbed him. After that, Gucci stayed strapped everywhere he went. Boosie told DJ Vlad that one time he saw Gucci in New York, and Gucci told him he drove all the way there just so he could bring his gun. When Gucci hopped in the booth and started rapping, everyone knew he was a real street dude. But what happened next shocked everyone. Gucci had linked up with Jeezy for a track called So Icy. The collab should have been a huge win for both of them. But instead, it sparked a brutal beef that led to a dude getting killed and dumped behind a middle school. It allegedly all started after Jeezy ain't get paid for his verse on So Icy, but he made the beef official when he dropped the diss track Stay Strapped and said, "Niggas talking all tough, steady hiding this shit. Even his own mama know Roderick Davis a bitch. To be honest, nigga, there's nothing Gucci about you. You pussy, nigga. Everything's Gucci about you." Then at the end of the song, he put out a 10K bounty on Gucci's chain. But when some dudes came to collect, the situation turned deadly. In May 2005, Gucci was at his crib in bed with a girl when a bunch of dudes broke in and attacked him. Gucci was ready for the smoke though, and he ended up killing a dude named Pookie Loke who was affiliated with Jeezy. He dumped Pookie's body behind a local middle school and found a new girl to finish the night off with. But a week later, Gucci turned himself in and got hit with the murder charge. The charges got dropped because the dudes was trying to kill Gucci and he just defended himself. And after that, everyone knew he wasn't someone to play with. Jeezy and Gucci kept beefing for over a decade, but it never got violent again. And in 2020, they shocked everyone by showing up to a versus battle against each other and making it clear that the murder attempts were over for good. Lil Pump blew up during the SoundCloud era and had a few tracks pop off like crazy, but he was also known for going viral on social media for his wild behavior, like letting off shots from inside a whip or on top of a roof while counting money. Pump was just a joke to a lot of people. But in 2018, he had to up the strap for real when 3 dudes allegedly tried to break into his crib. His manager called the cops and told him that they tried to get in and send a shot through the door. But it turns out that story was all cap. When the cops started asking Pump about the situation, his story made no sense. So they left and came back with a warrant to search the place. Outside in the bushes, they found an empty gun. And inside the crib, there was ammo that matched it. They figured out Pump was the one who shot the door from the inside, but there was no evidence anyone was actually trying to break in. Pump got booked for discharging a weapon inside and was sentenced to house arrest, but he made it clear to everyone he wasn't worried about the charges when he spit a freestyle in handcuffs.
See my ankle? House arrest, house arrest, house arrest, house arrest.
House arrest.
Part 2's hands up. Part 2's hands up, pass test. Gucci can't tear it on my fucking chest.
Young Thug ain't just one of the most influential rappers of his generation. He's also a certified savage who's locked up right now, facing the craziest RICO case in rap history. He came up in Atlanta and always had to be ready for ops, but staying strapped up all the time has caused him a lot of issues with the police. Back in 2017, Thug was arrested after the cops raided his album release party and found an AK in his Rolls Royce. Then a year later, they booked him for possession and intent to distribute meth, lean, and weed, and he caught another gun charge at the same time. Most people knew that Thug had ties to the street even after he became a star in the industry, but nobody was expecting the news that broke in 2022. Thug, Gunna, and 26 other affiliates of his YSL crew got hit with a massive RICO indictment. According to the cops, Thug rented a whip that his homies used in a drive-by to kill a dude named Big Nut. Big Nut was tight with YFN Lucci, and his death sparked a war between the crews that split Atlanta in half. Thug wasn't just allegedly sending shooters at his ops in the streets though. Back in 2015, Thug allegedly paid a dude to shoot up Lil Wayne's tour bus while they was beefing. Luckily, Wayne ain't get hit, but that situation let everyone know that Thug was ready for war with anyone. Polo G came up in Chicago and is allegedly affiliated with a gang called the Vice Lords. He actually finished high school and got accepted to Lincoln University, but it ain't take long for him to drop out and hop in the booth full time. Polo started popping off and working with some of the biggest artists in the game, but all the success put a target on his back. Back in 2021, some dudes with guns tried to kick in the door at his crib in Atlanta, and Polo's mom posted the surveillance footage to try and catch whoever was behind it. After it went down, Polo said he was gonna hire 24/7 security to keep his family safe. Having security around is a good move for any street rapper that makes it big. But Polo wasn't just gonna put his life in somebody else's hands, and a few weeks later, he got booked on a concealed weapons charge after the cops found a gun in his whip. Polo avoided getting into more legal drama for a while, but then in August, the cops raided his house and arrested him and his brother Trench Baby. A couple weeks before the raid, Trench Baby allegedly put a gun in the dude's face and robbed him at a music video shoot. The cops said that the dude had worked with Trench Baby before, but it's not clear why they have issues now. Trench Baby got Polo caught up in the case too, because when they raided the house, they found a bunch of guns and charged him with illegal possession of a short-barreled rifle. Polo and Trench Baby both bonded out of jail, but then just a few hours later, they got arrested again, and this case sounds way more serious. Nobody knows the story behind what went down yet, but both of them was booked for kidnapping, assault with a deadly weapon, and robbery. Apparently the situation happened April 2022, but there's not any details about what went down yet. Rappers get arrested all the time, but Nardo Wick might be the only one who had the US Marshals putting guns in his face. Back in 2021, a video leak showing Wick and another dude laying on the pavement while the feds are holding them at gunpoint. He was booked on a concealed weapons case, but it's not clear why the marshals had to get involved with the situation. Wick came up in Jacksonville, Florida, and allegedly started robbing people when he was still in school. Jacksonville is a wild city, so Wick had to be ready for ops at all times. Last year, he told DJ Academics that even if he had armed security, he'd take their gun and use it himself if a situation popped off. He also had to remake the video for his hit track, Who Wants Smoke, because the original had too much guns in it for social media. Snap Dogg is a Detroit rapper who popped off with tracks like Where You At and You Gotta Be a Dog with Snoop Dogg. Detroit is one of the most savage cities in America, and Snap let everyone know he was ready for ops by posting videos riding around with an Uzi. A lot of rappers show off guns for social media, but then Snap Dogg got into a situation that shocked everyone. While he was on IG Live hanging on the block with some homies, Snap spotted an op and started letting off shots while the live was still going. Getting into a shootout on IG Live is a whole different level of crazy, but later Snap posted a video and let everyone know that the whole thing was staged. He's known for posting wild clips on social media, and this was just another time he was trying to go viral. Boosie Badass is one of the most influential dudes in the Southern rap game. He inspired a whole generation of new artists, and a big reason they rock with him so heavy is that he's really about that life. Boosie's always been ready for ops, and he told DJ Vlad,
I got my first gun, my first real gun at like 14.
Having a reputation for being a savage got him a lot of respect in the streets and the rap game, but it also got Boosie wrapped up in a murder case that almost cost him his life. Back in 2010, Boosie got hit with the murder charge for allegedly killing a dude named Terry Boyd. Boyd was the brother of Boosie's baby mama, but the cops accused him of paying a teenager named Marlo Mike a couple of racks to kill him. Marlo was dealing with some pretty wild mental health issues as a kid and told his mom that he heard voices in his head. But instead of getting help, Marlo got active in the streets and killed 9 people by the time he was 15. He told the cops that he took Boyd out for Boosie, but when the trial started, he took his statement back and said he only made it because the cops threatened to arrest his mom and stepdad. When Boosie first got arrested, the cops was trying to tie him to like 5 murders, but they ain't actually have any evidence against him. And after Marlo Mike took his statement back, the jury handed down a not guilty verdict after thinking for less than 10 minutes. Beating a murder case gave Boosie even more clout. He still spent a few years in prison on drug charges, but now he's facing another serious situation. Back in May 2023, Boosie got pulled over and hit with a gun charge in California, and the story of how it went down is wild. The cops was watching an Instagram video of a known gang member when they spotted Boosie with a pistol tucked in his waistband. They switched over to watching Boosie's Instagram and saw that he was in a crib hood, and that's when they brought in the helicopter to track him down. The helicopter team found him and started following Boosie after he hopped in the whip. When the driver blew a red light, the cops on the ground pulled him over and found 2 guns in the car. What's crazy is that the state ended up dropping the charges. It seemed like a huge win at first, but just a few minutes later, the situation got way worse for him. Right after the state-level charges got dropped, the feds rolled up on Boosie and hit him with a Fed case over the gun. Now he's facing up to 15 years in prison if things go bad. Trap Boy Freddy's a Texas rapper who was beefing with Mo3 before he died. He'd been in the streets for a long time and spent years going in and out of jail for organized criminal activity, weapon and drug cases, and assault. When he was a teenager, Freddy was so heavy in the streets that he got arrested 12 times in 6 months. Eventually, he realized he needed to switch up how he moved and hopped in the rap game. But that's when he got wrapped up in some deadly drama with Mo3. It all started with Freddy linking up with Mo3's op, Yella Beezy. They sent shots back and forth for a while. Then Mo3 pulled up to Freddy's hood, and Freddy allegedly pulled a rifle out. Nothing serious went down that day, but in 2020, their crews allegedly got into a shootout at the club, and Freddy got hit in the leg. Mo3 got killed in a brutal shooting just a couple months later, and rumors was flying that Freddy put a bag on his head. He was never charged for the situation, but now he's facing another crazy case after the U.S. Marshals searched his crib and made a shocking discovery. The U.S. Marshals went to execute a search warrant to book him on a gun charge, and when they went inside, they found a baby tiger chilling in the cage. Freddy had posted pics with the tiger before, but nobody knew he was actually keeping it at his crib. After he pleaded guilty to the gun case, the prosecutors agreed not to file charges over the tiger situation, but now he's still facing up to 10 years behind bars. Even after he gets out of prison, Freddy's gonna have to be ready for ops. Some of Mo3's homies tried to run down on him after Mo3 died. They recorded Freddy walking away from them while they was trying to get him to run the fade, and a lot of people clowned Freddy for ducking the smoke. In the video, you can clearly see him clutching though, and a dude named OG Percy says that Freddy knew they was trying to trap him on camera. Roddy Ricch came up in Compton repping the Park Village Compton Crips. He left the streets behind to become one of the hottest artists in the game, but he's still ready for smoke if any ops try to press him. In 2022, he was supposed to perform at the Governor's Ball in New York, but there were some issues when he rolled up to the venue. A security guard saw Roddy stashing the gun under the seat in his whip. So he called the cops over, and they ended up booking him just a couple hours before he was supposed to be on stage. Roddy missed out on one of the biggest performances of his life. And what makes it even worse is that they ended up dropping the gun charge the very next day. He got out of jail that morning, and when he performed at Summer Jam that night, Roddy let the cops know exactly how he felt and said, "When you a famous rapper who came up in the streets, you never know when someone will pop off." And in 2021, Roddy got reminded to keep his head on a swivel after someone shot up his music video shoot. He was filming in Atlanta with 4-2 Doug when shots started going off and 2 dudes got hit. There was like 50 people on set who all started running and trying to escape, but luckily everyone made it out alive. This next rapper's lucky to say the same, after he was nearly killed at a bougie after party in LA. Kodak Black might be one of the biggest artists in the game right now, but he never really left the streets behind. He's been in and out of jail his whole life, and it don't look like that's gonna change anytime soon. Back in 2015, he popped off with his breakout hit, Skirt, but that same year, he got hit with assault, robbery, kidnapping, and false imprisonment charges after he allegedly forced a bunch of people into his whip that he thought broke into his house. Then in 2016, cops caught him buying weed from his plug, and when they tried to pull him over, he tossed a Glock 23 out the window and got hit with the gun case. Kodak got booked on another violent crime in 2017 for punching and kicking a woman at a club in Miami. Then just a few months later, the cops hit him with some crazy charges over an IG Live session. The cops spotted Yak in his crib surrounded by guns and drugs, and what made the situation way worse is that his young kid was right there next to him. They booked him for grand theft of a firearm, possession of a weapon, child neglect, and 2 parole violations, but his lawyers were able to get all the serious charges dropped. Even though he was making millions in the rap game and could have rolled with armed security 24/7, Kodak still wanted to be ready for the ops. And in April 2019, he was booked on another gun case after the cops found him trying to sneak a Glock into Canada. He bonded out and went back on tour, but less than a month later, the US Marshals hit him with a federal gun case for lying on paperwork while buying the strap. This time, Yak got hit with a 3-year sentence, but ended up getting pardoned by Donald Trump in 2021. It seems like catching the Fed case made him switch up how he moved and stop carrying guns everywhere, and it almost got him killed last year. Kodak was at Justin Bieber's party in Hollywood when a fight broke out on the street. Someone started letting off shots, and Yak ended up getting hit in the leg. Luckily, he survived the shooting and made a full recovery, but he probably went back to staying strapped after that situation. According to rumors, the dudes who pressed Kodak were members of a Toronto crew affiliated with Drake called Wasp Gang. Pressa and his homie YG even pulled up and sat in the front row at Fashion Week in Paris to clown Kodak while he was on the runway. Drake allegedly took a shot at Kodak over the situation when he hopped on Travis Scott's track Meltdown and rapped, "Don't come to the boy about repairing some shit. Don't come to the boy about sparing some shit. You lucky that Vogue was suing, cause I would've been with the Wasses in Paris and shit." Then Pressa posted a pic with Drake and wrote, "Crody would've been in Paris with the Wasses and shit." The Wasses are one of the most savage crews in Toronto, so if Yak is really beefing with them, he better be ready for smoke at any time, especially if he plans on doing any shows in Toronto. Almost getting killed at an after party is crazy, but this next rapper allegedly had a bunch of his own guns stolen. PGF Nook is a Chicago rapper who blew up in 2022 off the track What Up. He popped off fast and signed a deal with Alamo Records, but Nook made it clear he was still really out there in the trenches. There's even a video of him allegedly getting into a shootout in the middle of the street, but another rapper from the city claims Nook ain't really about that action. A dude named Lil Dre was cool with Nook and the other guys in PGF back in the day, but something went down behind the scenes that sparked a beef. Lil Dre claims he walked into their spot and stole a bunch of guns right in their face. He clowned their whole crew on social media and posted the straps he stole, but Nook called cap on his story. According to him, Dre came into the crib and stole the guns without anyone seeing him do it. Then he hopped online and started acting like he actually robbed him. It's not clear what actually went down, but even if Dre took a few guns, Nook still had way more. He kept posting them online and let everyone know he was still ready for ops, but now he's facing a Fed case that could send him to prison for a decade. Back in August 2023, the cops allegedly caught Nook with a Glock with a switch on it. Rappers in Chicago beat gun cases all the time, but Nook might actually end up doing serious numbers. The Game is a West Coast legend who only decided to rap after he got shot 5 times in a trap house. Even after he blew up in the industry and sold millions of records, his street ties were so strong that Canada wouldn't even let him into the country. The wildest part of his career was when Game sparked a wild beef with 50 Cent that led to a shootout in the middle of New York City. The Game was supposed to be joining G-Unit, and the tracks him and 50 made together are considered classics by a lot of people. Game wasn't backing up 50 in some of his beat, so 50 kicked him out of the crew live on Hot 97, and the Game rode up with his homies to check him. The situation escalated till both sides started letting off shots and one dude caught a bullet in the leg. Luckily, nobody got killed over the situation, but that wasn't the only time Game was ready for Opps. Back in 2007, he was booked on a weapon and assault case. It's not clear what actually went down, but the Game allegedly got into it with a dude on a basketball court and pulled a gun in his face. He pleaded no contest to a felony, but got off easy with just 60 days in jail. Even if he's not strapped up, Game is still ready for Opps though. After Game left G-Unit, another West Coast rapper named 40 Glock started rocking with them and was sending shots at the Game. So when Game spotted 40 Glock out on the streets in Hollywood, it was on sight. He started putting hands on them, and it was clear from the jump that 40 ain't really want the smoke. He tried to run away, then the Game took the disrespect to the next level by filming him with one hand and beating him up with the other. Throwing hands with another rapper on video is wild. But in 2017, Game took things up a notch and punched a cop. The Game obviously gets pretty heated anytime he's on the court. And after a dude stole the ball from him and scored, the Game fouled him and threw a punch. If it was just a random guy, then the situation probably would have ended there. But it turns out the dude he punched was an off-duty cop. Luckily, the Game got off with another light sentence though, and didn't even have to go to jail this time. NLE Choppa is a Memphis rapper who's been strapped up and ready for the Opps ever since he was 13 years old. And the first case he ever caught was for bringing a gun to a school he ain't even go to. He told DJ Vlad,
ended up pulling up at the school and the police seen me hop out the car with my gun. Because I could've ran, I could've got away. But I said, man, I ain't want to increase my forces. I'm gonna try to talk my way out of it.
That's crazy.
My ass went to jail.
Choppa ended up in juvie over the situation, but he said he's glad it went down like that because there's no telling what would have happened if he walked in there with the gun on him. Choppa started popping off in the industry while he was still a teenager, and obviously, he never left the street mentality behind. There's all kinds of videos of him riding around with guns, threatening Opps on IG Live, and even one of him holding an AR while getting his hair cut. NLE went viral back in 2021 for throwing hands with a dude who asked for a picture at the beach. According to Choppa, the dude got pressed after he turned down the pic and started talking shit. So that's when Choppa swung on him. The other guy hit back, but then Choppa's homies jumped in and it was over for the dude. That wasn't the only time Choppa almost got into a fight with random people on the street though. Another day, he was somewhere international just walking with his homies when some dude looked right at him and said, "Nigga, nigga." You could tell how confused Choppa was by the whole situation. But luckily for the other dude, he just kept walking and gave him a pass.
You know what I'm saying?
Chico.
Nigga.
That's it.
What? Nah, he didn't say that.
Mafia.
Nah, you heard me? I got this shit on video.
Did he say nigga?
Right, he definitely said. Nah, he said nigga, bro. He said no photo.
That same year, Choppa caught some serious charges in a gun case. In March 2021, Choppa and his homie pulled up to a tow yard at night. He thought his watch got left behind in the whip that got towed there, so him and his homie hopped the fence to get in. They tried to hide when the cops pulled up, but Choppa and his homie were found immediately. Breaking in and trespassing was bad, but it got even worse when the cops searched the Ford Expedition they drove to the yard. Inside, they found a Glock 27 and a Draco pistol, plus 7 grams of weed and a few Xanax pills. Quando Rondo is mostly known for being involved with the death of King Von back in 2020. Von walked him down and started swinging, but Quando's homie Lil Tim was ready for smoke and started letting off shots. Quando's been in plenty of other crazy situations though, and he allegedly smashed NLE Choppa's homeboy in the face with a bottle. Nobody knows what really went down, but Quando hopped on IG and started clowning Choppa and his homies.
I just cracked NLE Choppa homeboy in this shit, running up on me. Hey, crack nigga ass in this shit, nigga, fuck NLE Choppa.
Choppa clapped back and said Quando ain't hit nobody with the bottle and that he just threw it at them while he was hiding behind security. Quando usually stays strapped up, but he's been caught lacking before too. Last year, he got caught in a wild shooting that tragically left one of his homies dead. Quando and his homies was at a gas station in LA when 3 shooters walked up and started letting off shots. He made it out of the situation alive, but now he's facing a serious drug and weapons case that could get him decades behind bars. Back in June, Quando and 18 other alleged Rolling 60 Crips got hit with an indictment in Georgia. The cops think Quando's a shot caller in the crew, and according to them, he even called up shooters to come take out some ops at a movie theater. Quando was allegedly in the theater when he saw some dudes who rep 1100, and that's when he made the call for his homies to roll up. It's not clear what went down that night yet, but obviously the cops think Quando has some real power in the streets. Flexing all your weapons on IG lets the ops know you're ready for smoke if they try you. But if the cops are watching, it can get you decades in prison. A Detroit rapper named Big Homie went live on IG and showed off a bunch of guns. including a Glock with a switch on it. The cops had already been watching his IG and was looking to catch him slipping. So when Big Homie flexed an illegal machine gun, they brought the feds in to take him down. 3 days after the live session, the ATF rolled up and raided Big Homie's crib and grabbed 6 straps. Having a bunch of illegal guns was bad, but when the cops ran some ballistic tests, the situation got way worse. One of the guns they found was used in 7 shootings, including a murder and a non-fatal shooting that went down just a few hours after Big Homie went live. The feds also found a rifle in the crib that they linked to another shooting where some dudes pulled up in a white Cadillac Escalade and started letting off shots at the pharmacy. Stealing whips and using them for drive-bys happens all the time in the streets, but most shooters are smart enough to dump the whip after they're done. After the news broke, folks who dug hop on social media to give Big Homie and other dudes some advice about how to move. He said that they should be using Instagram as a place to promote themselves and get rich instead of trying to prove how many guns they have. Doug wasn't hating though. He said that it's just something you gotta learn and that instead of bashing young niggas, y'all should correct them and give them a different way to see shit. Showing off dirty guns on IG Live is a dumb move, but this next rapper left his Glock with a switch in an Uber. Lil Zay Osama is a rapper from the south side of Chicago who got active in the streets at around 12 years old. Coming up in Chirac means you never know when or where the ops might catch you. And in 2015, Osama almost died from catching a bullet to the chest. Getting hit was bad, but he also caught a gun charge at the same time and had to spend a couple years in juvie over the situation after he recovered. Getting locked up and shot made him realize he needed to switch up how he moved and take music more seriously, but Osama stayed ready for ops. In 2022, he was in New York on his way to the studio when his Uber driver spotted Osama with a strap. They finished the trip and everything was cool, but then Osama accidentally left his gun in the whip and the driver called the cops on him. New York don't play when it comes to gun cases, and Osama's situation was even worse because they found a switch on his Glock. Osama was live on IG when the cops rolled up and booked him, and the prosecutors even used his lyrics against him and brought up his bars on the track Danny Block when he rapped, "I hope this song right here don't get in the hands of the feds. Hey, I just got a brand new Glock with a 50 and a switch. I just popped one of my ops. I'm finna go do another hit." Osama told Bootleg Kev a month before the arrest that Twista was gonna help him get a legal gun permit. But it don't matter what kind of documents you got if the cops catch you with a switch. But according to Osama, the story's all cap. He called out DJ Academics on Instagram for talking about the situation and said he never left a gun in the Uber and the case was already dismissed. Osama might have beat that case, but then just a few months later, the cops in Chicago caught him with a whole trunk full of weapons. There ain't a lot of details out there about his new case, but it don't look like he gonna skate on this one as easily. Pooh Shiesty popped off and was on his way to becoming one of the hottest new rappers in the game after linking up with superstars like Lil Durk and signing the Gucci Mane's 1017 label. But instead of leveling up and leaving the trenches behind, Shiesty got caught up in a crazy shooting and ended up getting hit with a 5-year sentence. Back in October 2020, Shiesty was booked on armed robbery, assault, and theft charges over a situation that went down in Florida. Shiesty rented a McLaren from some guys while he was in town, then he linked up with them again to buy some weed, lean, and sneakers. It's not clear why the situation went left, but shots started going off and both of the dudes got hit. Shiesty and his homies drove off, but during all the chaos, he dropped a Louis bag with 40K cash on the ground and the cops used it to track him down. He probably would have gone down for it anyways though, because they shot the dudes in the parking lot right across the street from the police station. He bonded out on that case, but a few months later, he got booked for another shooting at a strip club in Miami. According to the security guard he allegedly shot, Shiesty had a wad of cash in his pocket that got knocked to the floor, and everyone started grabbing the money. That's when he hopped up and reached for the strap in his waistband, and the security guard told him not to pull it out. Shiesty and his crew was leaving the club, but then he upped the strap out of nowhere and let off a shot. The security guard tried to stop him before but got hit in the ankle, and later he took his statement back, so Shiesty probably won't get any more time added to a sentence over it. Bankroll Freddy came up in a small town in Arkansas called Helena. Just cause it ain't a big place don't mean the streets ain't active though. And he learned how to move in the trenches from watching his dad move weight and hustle at dice games. He saw his first murder at just 9 years old when one of his cousins chased her own brother down with a butcher knife and stabbed him to death. Freddy told DJ Vlad that he lost 15 homies to the streets, and the ops caught him a couple times too. Back in 2017, he got into a fight with some dudes at a casino, and when Freddy left the spot, they followed him and started letting off shots. One car busted out his back windshield, then another whip pulled up next to him and caught him in the head and back. Even after he popped off in the rap game, he was still dealing with street issues, and in 2021, Freddy got shot in the face, but luckily survived. Bankroll Freddy obviously had a target on his back, so he needed to be ready for ops at any time. A lot of rappers carry guns even when they leave the streets behind, but Freddy needed protection even more because he's allegedly been moving serious weight even after getting a deal with Quality Control Records. Last April, Freddie got pulled over for speeding in Arkansas, and when the cops searched his whip, they found over 20 pounds of weed, 170 grams of promethazine, plus a gun. Rappers get caught with drugs all the time, but this was a whole different level. It wasn't just Freddie who they got though. 34 other dudes affiliated with the EBK gang got hit with a massive indictment. The FBI got involved with the situation, and they think Freddie's whole family was moving heavyweight together. His dad was booked on drug and weapons charges and allegedly got caught on wiretap talking to all 3 of his sons about setting up drug deals through one of his daughters. It's a crazy case already, and we don't even have a lot of details yet, so stay tapped in for updates while the story comes out. Blueface is one of the wildest dudes in the game, but nobody expected the news that came out in 2022. According to reports, Blueface was outside a nightclub in Vegas when a dude named Contavious Trailer made a joke about the women he was talking to. Blueface's crew jumped Trailer and started throwing hands, so he hopped in his truck to get out of the situation. But before he could get away, Blueface pulled a pistol and started letting off shots. Trailer caught a bullet in the hand, and Blueface got booked for attempted murder over the situation. It looked like that might be the end of his career, but then the next year he made headlines again after news broke that he wasn't going to serve any jail time at all. Even though Blueface got caught on camera shooting that Trailer, the judge only gave him 3 years of probation and banned him from the Vegas Strip unless he's working there. That's not the only time he's gone viral for getting involved in wild situations though. Last year, Blueface and his ex Krishan Rock was hanging out with her family. Apparently, Blueface and her dad had some kind of issue, and Krishan's dad tried to swing on him. It sparked a crazy fight that had to be broken up by security, but that wasn't the end of it. After everyone calmed down for a second and Krishan's dad walked off, Blueface ran up on him from behind and knocked him out. Then last month, Blueface was in the headlines again after he got stabbed by someone in the boxing gym. In a video he posted online, you can see Blueface arguing with the dude. Then out of nowhere, Blueface started throwing hands. The video cuts off there, but apparently the dude realized he wasn't going to win a fist fight, so he pulled out a knife and stabbed him. Charleston White is one of the most hated dudes in the rap game, so he always has to be ready for Opps. He came up in the streets going in and out of juvie, and even got booked for attempted murder as a teenager. Everything changed when Charleston and his homies actually killed a dude after robbing a store. A guy caught them running out with stolen jackets and tried to stop him, and that's when they shot and killed him in the parking lot. Charleston ended up turning his whole life around, and now he makes a living out of sending shots at some of the most savage dudes in the game and threatening to call the cops on them. A lot of people have tried to check him, but Charleston stays ready for Opps every day. He's got enough guns to start his own war, but even if he ain't strapped up, he still won't get caught lacking. One time, a dude tried to press him at a hotel, so Charleston whipped out a police baton and smashed him in the head. He's also known for carrying pepper spray pretty much all the time. Some random guy at a gas station allegedly tried to grab his gun one time, so Charleston sprayed him in the face so bad, he had to pour milk in his eyes. A lot of the time, he claims to just be playing a character to get reactions. But when he went on DJ UTV, the situation got seriously heated. Charleston has made headlines for dissing King Von and other street rappers and saying they deserve to die. DJ U was asking Charleston about what the rappers' moms would think about all that, and Charleston started screaming about how he don't care about them and said,
I don't give a fuck about Duck or Bone. I help this living mama fuck them dead niggas that preached about killing niggas. Why y'all not helping they mama?
Then he jumped off the couch and grabbed his gun. DJ U and some of his crew got up to try and calm Charleston down, and that's when Charleston cocked the strap and said,
Man, you better sit down, hold on, man. What you mean what I'm on? Nigga, don't fuck with me with a gun in my hand, nigga.
What makes Charleston such a crazy op to deal with is that he won't hesitate to get the cops involved and get you locked up if you try something. After he started beefing with 600 Breezy over what he said about King Von, Charleston told him he'd roll into Chicago with the whole sheriff's department.
He's dangerous, bro. And he's dangerous for the fact that he'll throw a rock at you and then call the police on you.
Lil Uzi Vert ain't really a street dude, but he's still ready for Opps when he needs to be. When a fan tried to run up on him while he was sitting at a red light, Uzi let him know off the rip to keep his distance because he was strapped up. Back when he was beefing with Rich the Kid, Rich took a lot of shots on social media and on diss tracks. Only one of them actually wanted smoke though, and when Uzi spotted him in Philly, he hopped right out of the whip to confront Rich face to face. Uzi's not a big dude or anything, but he had Rich so shook that he ran into a Starbucks and hopped the counter just to get away. A lot of people clown both of them for the situation because the fight looked so funny. But last year, Uzi was involved in a way more serious case. His ex-girlfriend Brittany Burr was hanging out with St. John at a cafe to discuss some business deals. And that's when Uzi rolled up in an Escalade and tried to swing on John. But instead of knocking his op out, the punch missed and Uzi tripped himself up. When he hit the ground, Brittany walked up to confront him, but Uzi stuck a pistol in her stomach and hit her. It was a crazy situation all around, but Uzi never had to spend time in jail and got off easy with just 3 years of probation. Eminem's bars are full of wild violence that never actually happened, but there was one time he put hands on a bouncer and aired the situation out in the booth. Back in the day, Em and his wife Kim had a crazy toxic relationship and was always breaking up and getting back together. Even after they had a daughter together and Em became one of the hottest artists in the world, the drama never slowed down. And one night, he allegedly caught her kissing a bouncer in Detroit named John Guerrero. It's not clear exactly how it all went down, but Em allegedly walked Guerrero down with an empty pistol and they started fighting. Guerrero claims that Em pistol whipped him, and on the track Soldier, Em raps, "I'ma lit fuse, anything I do, bitch, it's news. Pistol whipping motherfucking bouncers 6'2". Who needs bullets? As soon as I pull it, you sweat bullets." But on the same album, Em dropped the track Sing for the Moment and said, "I'm such a fucking menace, this shit doesn't make sense, B. It's all political. If my music is literal and I'm a criminal, how the fuck can I raise a little girl? I couldn't, I wouldn't be fit to. You're full of shit too, Guerrero. That was a fist that hit you." A random bouncer wasn't the only op Eminem pressed though, and his next story proves he wasn't going back down from anyone, even if they was one of the most savage dudes in rap history. Back in the day, everybody was terrified of Suge Knight. There's a bunch of brutal stories of him beating people up, putting out hits on them, and right now he's locked up for killing one of his own friends. Suge had major beef with Dr. Dre after Dre left Death Row, so when Dre's new artist 50 Cent started popping off, Suge rode up to the music video shoot of In the Club to check him. According to a G-Unit affiliate named Bang'em Smurf, people started running around freaking out when Suge showed up, but M hopped out with a bulletproof vest and was ready for whatever. Luckily, nobody got shot that day, but M proved he definitely wasn't the one to play with. Bun B is a southern rap legend. He linked up with his homie Pimp C to create UGK, and they helped put the South on the map. Bun ain't known for crashing out and going crazy, but a few years ago, he got into a shootout with a dude who broke into his crib. Bun was upstairs in the bathroom while his wife Queenie was on the ground floor. A dude knocked on the door, and when she opened it up, he put a gun in her face and wanted to rob her. At first, Queenie thought he was there to get at Bun, so she just wanted him to get out and told him to take the Audi that was sitting in the garage. Bun heard what was going on downstairs, and he ain't hesitate to grab his strap and run into the garage. The robber was sitting in the whip trying to get it started, and that's when Bun started letting off shots. He busted at the dude like 5 times, then the robber shot back once, and Bun emptied his clip at him. The other dude tossed his gun and took off on foot, but the police caught up to him later because he had to go to the hospital for a gunshot wound to the shoulder. Billionaire Black is a rapper from Chicago who's always strapped up and ready for ops. He caught a misdemeanor gun case back in the day, but he almost went down for a long time after the cops raided his house. Inside his crib, they found like 5 or 6 guns, so Billionaire Black was definitely looking at a felony charge. But instead of letting his son get sent to prison, Billionaire's dad actually stepped up and took all the charges for him. Even though his pops went to prison over his guns, Billionaire ain't gonna let anyone catch him lacking. A YouTube troll tried to prank Billionaire by acting like he was gonna snatch his chain, and Billionaire almost blasted him right there on the street. Luckily, some other dudes in the area stepped in to calm everything down, because otherwise, Billionaire might have caught a body on camera. That wasn't the only time he had a crazy situation on camera. Back in 2019, there was a bunch of people dressing up as clowns and going around cities trying to scare people. But when Billionaire spotted one while he was driving down the street, he upped his strap at the clown and chased him out of the neighborhood. Moneybagg Yo had a crazy childhood where his family ain't even have running water or lights in the house. He jumped off the porch as a teenager just to help support the family, and he only started taking rap more serious after his homie Elo got shot and killed back in 2015. He made it out of the streets and became one of the biggest rappers in the city, but Moneybagg ain't leave all the drama behind. Back in 2020, Moneybagg was celebrating his birthday in Las Vegas when shots started going off out of nowhere. Rumors was flying that someone put a bag on his head and tried to get him killed, but Moneybagg hopped online and said whoever was shooting wasn't even aiming at him. Luckily, nobody got killed during the shootout, but a few months ago, Moneybagg took another major loss to the streets. The mother of his 3 kids was allegedly shot and killed by somebody she knew while Moneybagg was out in Atlanta working on a project. It's not clear exactly what went down, but 1 month before that, he almost lost another homie to gun violence. Back in May, some dudes ran down on his artist Tripstar and tried to rob him. Tripstar wasn't lacking though, and he ended up killing one of the guys. Chicago is full of rappers who are really about that life, and 600 Breezy is one of the most savage. His dad repped the GDs, but when Breezy got active in the streets, he started running with the BDs. The Opps was trying to get at him all the time, and Breezy told DJ Vlad he started getting shot at when he was just 14, and by the time he was 16 or 17, The Opps was taking shots at him almost every day. Luckily, they missed most of the time, but then Breezy went through a 3-year period where he got shot twice a year every year. Breezy's ready for smoke with anyone, and he told 6ix9ine straight up,
"You gon' die.
Yo, listen, you haven't killed nobody that
You
killed
gon' die."
Even when some GDs caught him by himself at a mall in Vegas, Breezy ain't back down at all. King Yella and Billionaire Black tried to press him when he had money hanging out of his pocket, but Breezy stood his ground and was ready for whatever they wanted to do. Breezy survived the war in Chirac and is still putting pressure on the Opps, but his story is nothing compared to these next rappers. Right now, the war in Jacksonville is the craziest thing happening in the rap game. Foolio and Yungeen Ace turned the city into a war zone, and everyone has to be ready for Opps if they don't want to get added to the scoreboard. Both sides have lost a ton of bodies in some of the wildest, most brutal shootings in rap history. Ace got caught lacking by the Opps a few years ago and barely survived the drive-by. Ace pulled through, but then he had to watch his brother and 2 homies die right in front of him. Ace ain't been as active in the war, but it's wild that Foolio is even alive right now. Back in 2020, the Opps caught him in Houston and grazed him with a bullet to the neck. He went live from the hospital and clowned him for not killing him. Then Ace's homie, Fast Money Goon, pretty much confirmed he was a shooter when they dropped the track Who I Smoke, and he rapped, "I told the Rocket when I travel, I'm pistol packing in Houston. I was lurking on his page and caught him lacking in Houston. We let off shots, he got shot and went live. I was tweaking like, fuck man, that bitch ain't died." Then a year later, 2 shooters rode up on Foolio outside the studio and let off over 100 shots. He started shooting back and sent him running, and somehow they only grazed him in the leg. Foolio stays strapped everywhere he goes because he knows how hot the streets are right now. And then in 2023, the Opps try to take him out again. It's not clear exactly how it went down, but a photo of Foolio's foot with a baseball-sized bullet wound went viral, and rumors was flying that he was in critical condition. Luckily, it seems like the situation wasn't actually that serious though, and his family posted a pic of him in the hospital with the caption, "Y'all know he good." Foolio might be surviving all the shootings, but tragically, a lot of his homies ain't been as lucky. Back in 2019, his homie Bibby was hanging outside the Hilltop Village apartments when an op rolled up and started letting off shots. Bibby ran for his life, but the shooter ran him down and brutally murdered him. A year later, another rapper named Lil Buck was shot and killed in broad daylight. And it turns out that a rapper affiliated with Yungeen Ace might have been behind both hits. K-Soul is rumored to be one of Ace's top shooters for a long time, and now the police are confirming the stories. Lil Buck had dissed K-Soul's dead older brother Boss Goon, and that's why K-Soul allegedly took him out. An off-duty cop saw a shooter standing over Buck's body. Then the gunman hopped in a getaway whip and sped off. It turns out that K-Soul's brother was involved with the hit too, and their dad is the one who drove the getaway whip. After they left the scene, they ended up crashing and broke into a woman's house to hide out. They stole a bunch of her husband's clothes to change into, and that's when K-Soul's pops came through and picked him up. K-Soul and his older brother got booked for murder, and their dad was hit with accessory after the fact. What's really wild about the case is that K-Soul's dad ended up flipping on them and told the cops everything. Come to find out, this wasn't the first time K-Soul tried to take out Lil Buck. He shot him once before, but didn't finish the job. So when he caught him the second time, he wanted to make sure the job was done. The cops showed K-Soul's dad a dashcam video of the shooter standing over Lil Buck and letting off shots point blank. And he told him straight up that it was K-Soul.